The incredible success of American-style pro wrestling in Japan can be traced directly to the influence of one man, the man considered the father of Japanese puroresu, pro wrestling, Rikidozan. A former sumo star, Rikidozan had been trained by Americans for the first ever wrestling tour of Japan in the early 1950s, but he knew it wouldn't last forever, and so he handpicked the two men he felt should be his successors, a Brazilian track and field star of Japanese descent named Kanji Inoki, renamed Antonio to make him more exotic, and a former Tokyo Giants pro baseball player named Shohei Baba. Inoki left the JWA to form his own company, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Several months later, Baba, with help from Dory Funk Sr. to be able to book top American talent, did the same, naming his company All Japan Pro Wrestling. It would make a number of American wrestlers household names in the rising sun, and it would make Giant Baba the richest promoter in the history of pro wrestling worldwide, with the exception of Vince McMahon. This is the story of the promoter and the promotion that presented professional wrestling as serious sport for longer and more successfully than anyone else anywhere on earth. This is the story of Giant Baba's All Japan Pro Wrestling. When you went back for New Japan, what were the differences? Differences in the business, the way things were conducted?
Well, I must say, I think that that New Japan ran things like what you would end up thinking of the traditional Japanese-run company. Boy, I mean, everything was in order. Everything was, you know, Baba's was a little more. He had a bunch of guys. A lot of guys that spent time in the States. They were more Americanized at that time, you know, towards the American NWA wrestling style. All Japan, everybody had this huge bus, and everybody got on the bus. I mean, the Japanese and the Americans all got on this bus. Baba, Jumbo, and the two or three of the top guys, right, they would ride in a van, different. But everybody else would just pile on this big bus and we'd go around. But Inoki, when I got there, he had two separate buses. The Gaijin, the foreign guys, would be on one bus. The Japanese would be on a completely separated.
Because it was kayfabe, because most of the time you were wrestling these guys, so it really didn't.
Isn't it still? The Japanese guys that had to do the, you know, business and do the job or whatever, they were respected. You know, and you know, they didn't look at it like, well, you know, I'm looking weak or nobody's gonna, you know. And I think that part of the business, how they broke in and how they control that thinking and how everybody thought that, is one of the reasons the business kept going for such a long time. This my youth actually is youth. That's what I was yelling.
Okay.
Youth. And because it was like I'm the young guy, you know, the younger group, me and Brody, and so so we were like the younger team, and the Funks were kind of a little bit older. The
lariat got over. You got the lariat over, Stan.
It did, you know, and you know, without sounding too braggadocious, I was really the first guy that, you know, there had been people that did it and they kind of jumped and both came down in different directions. But, you know, I played football, so I was a middle linebacker, and this was a move that a middle linebacker did to the tight end. You know, I am a little blind, I guess, but I mean, I can see you, but, you know, where I hit you with my arm, I don't know.
It was tremendous shock because of how over Brody was, and suddenly Brody and Inoki and blah, blah, blah. But
it was big, huge news, big news, man.
What went wrong?
Stuff. You know, they wanted to beat Brody right off the bat.
Well, there you go. That's
you know,
probably...
I mean, that's it. I mean, and he just... You can only split the pie, you know, so many times. You know, why not be in Osaka and you be over here? But they were just fighting each other on everything, and it was you know,
so they were running actually the same town on the same night or night before or whatever, just that close.
That was bad business. When everybody, all the Japanese top guys, ended up wanting to become the boss or their own company, I think that when Baba and Inoki lost the control of the talent the talent. That was the actual start of the downward
Are you
spiral.
trying to say that when the established, experienced pro wrestlers who became promoters and who knew how to take care of their business lapsed control to the young people and the outsiders who didn't have that experience or that element of control over the business, bad things would happen?
He cried out, "Baba's dead," and it was in the middle of the night, you know, in Colorado, and I turned to my wife and I just said, "Well, everything changes from here on. You know, this will be a watershed deal."